Hello, everyone. I am Laura Sheehan, U.S. lawyer turned career coach and strategist. Having lived in 8 countries over the span of nearly 20 years, I am regularly in search of my community, a place where I can both give and receive support to people in career and life transition. Empowering Perspectives is that group. Founded in 2017 in Hanoi, Vietnam, by myself and 2 other wonderful women, we 3 wanted to help others come together and share resources. The EP community quickly expanded throughout Asia, and with COVID is now online and reaching a community worldwide. Every month we gather on the 3rd Tuesday to talk to a guest who can provide us a glimpse of her life, the challenges she has overcome, and the wisdom she can now share. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Terre Short. Terre is a true adventurer, exploring her individual evolutionary journey. She is a human potential developer who specializes in leadership development and communication skills. With more than 30 years of leadership experience in healthcare, hospitality, and business ownership, Terre shares a wealth of knowledge as an author, speaker, and professionally certified coach. Terre is passionate about creating individual learning paths to enhance leaders' brilliance and elevate their contributions. Her company, The Short Group, provides live and online learning opportunities for individuals and groups. Her book, The Words We Choose, Your Guide to How and Why Words Matter, was published just a few weeks ago. I bought a copy immediately and could not put it down. I am so excited to introduce you to Terre and to have the opportunity to share with you an overview of the incredible topics covered in this new and very empowering resource. Welcome, Terre.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, Laura.
I am so excited to be able to introduce you to this community at large and to talk more to you, learn more about you as an individual, as an author, and to share your book with the world. And we're just going to start with this great conversation topic. One of my favorite things to ask people, because all of us lead such different lives and are on such different paths, is how did you come to be where you are now? What was your career path like? What are you doing at this moment in time?
Well, it's a big question. It's what I call our evolutionary path. Like, we're all evolving as we go. And I like to say that I took the jungle gym approach to career development and progress, right? Not climbing an actual ladder, but all over the place. So I had, as you mentioned in my bio, I had quite an extensive hospitality background. And I really believe that from the very first job I ever had, I knew I was to be in service of others. That's it. I was to be in service of others. So that led me through hospitality. One day, I literally sort of woke up and said, gosh, I could use my skill set to improve a patient experience instead of sort of the lives of the rich and famous that I was really catering to in my hospitality career, which was fine. I just thought, okay, well, that would be a different take. And then I moved into healthcare. And all along, I was coaching all leaders at every turn, right? And I actually had a boss say to me one day, you could coach anyone in any aspect, any industry, and this and that. And I got curious about that. And that led me to, that's how I met you. It led me to get my professional coaching certification. So it's been all around.
And here we are today.
That's right.
And today we've got this great book to talk about. What was your inspiration for this book?
Well, it's another one of those. It was a slow churning thing that has come about over the course of a long period of time. So I have 2 children, and they're 23 and 22. And when my children were born, I have to use the word obsessed. I think I became obsessed with word choices. And I started, and very concerned, thinking about the difference between how I spoke to my son versus my daughter. And I read a book called Reviving Ophelia, and it just stuck in my mind. It speaks about the words we choose for our daughters that create self-esteem or denigrate self-esteem. And I just took that all very much to heart. And I just kept digging deeper and deeper and became a student of the words we choose. And I listened to them all the time. I listened to them come out of my own mouth. And then as I became, professionally started coaching more and more, I'd start to think about the words that people chose, and even in families and with loved ones. And I could feel myself have a reaction when I would think, that's not what that person meant. I don't believe that was their intent, and I'd start to pay more attention to the words that we choose and how connected or disconnected they might be, either to ourselves or to the environment, and what that disconnect how that might manifest itself. And so it led me to write this book.
And I want to ask you in a minute about the book writing process. A thought that just came to my head as you were speaking about how you decided, or how this inspiration came along, is that your daughter really, and the words that you were choosing to help her grow, were something that helped you tune into the weight that even the smallest word can carry. And it's really interesting because in one of the chapters of your book, you talked about the word just. And in this community, in the Empowering Perspectives community, one of the things that we were trying to do, we did it every time when we met together in person, was that as soon as we would come together, we would require that every attendee introduce themselves. And also, within a very short period of time, say who they were, why they were there today, basically what they hoped to learn, and what their future goals were, what they were working towards. And it was fascinating to me that so many of the people who attended these events started out by saying, oh, hi, I'm Barbara, I'm just a mom, or I'm just a wife, or I'm just here to hear what people have to say. And within one meeting, maybe not even just one meeting, maybe just two people saying that, we made it a rule that you can't say the word just. And that you also can't introduce yourself in relation to other people. You have to introduce yourself as you, because by introducing yourself as the wife of or the mother of, while those roles are very important, it detracts from you and focuses on the other person. And I love how in your book, you really pinpointed the fact that that word just sucks so much out of what you are trying to say.
That's right.
It's crazy how just that one word just saps the life out of the message that you're trying to deliver.
That's right.
And the structure of your book overall is so fantastic because it starts small. Well, you think it's small. It starts here with a reflection on the words that you use in yourself, in your inner dialogue, and how you frame your own thoughts. And then it expands outward to the words that we use with our friends and family, the words that we use in the world at large, words that we use at work, in technology, and then in relation to the universe and larger concepts. And I love how, even though it seems like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that it actually comes full circle. And I would love it if you could talk to everybody a little bit about that aspect of your book, the structure, and what you called the heart-centered speaking.
Right. That's actually why I probably I probably am not clear enough about this in the book, where there are reflections and activities, and that where there's an activity, there's a little brain icon, and when there's a reflection, there's a little heart icon. And what went through my mind is that that's the work. That's where the work is to be done, is that we have what's in our heart, and we have our values and our beliefs. And sometimes those two things are not the same. And I explain that in the book, but we have what we value and our intention in our heart. And then we have thoughts, either ones that are preconditioned or ones externally prejudged, what have you. We have these thoughts that ramble around in our mind sometimes. And what happens is what comes out of our mouth sometimes does not connect the two, right? And so here I am using my hands doing that graphic. But so that's what goes through my mind, is that how do we pause long enough to ensure that what is in our heart connects with what is in our minds, and that the right thing, the word that truly represents our values and our intentions comes out of our mouth and serves not just ourselves and our own intent, but serves the other, the person receiving it, serves the greater good. That's really what it is that I believe that the world would be a better place if we had that sort of mindful communication that started in that place of being more heart-centered. And so that's why I start there, because you do have to start there. You're not prepared to choose the right words for others and to have the right confidence, let's say, in the workplace or what have you, if you haven't done the work internally and aren't choosing the right words for yourself in the first place, right? And then choosing the right words, as my example earlier, for your daughter or for your son, for your children, and setting the right intention for what you want to portray to them, and that lifts them up and sends them on their merry way, let's say. And so, you start there, you build upon that, and then that helps everything fall into place more naturally as you go. We all know that external forces and forces in nature and such right now are pretty overwhelming. And so it's required of each of us to take that inner look. And that's what I endeavor to create and to share in the book, is what does that inner look like? And then how does that manifest itself in our worlds?
And I love too how in the book you pose the question, do you ever feel like people don't understand what you're trying to say? Or is your message often received not in the way that you intended? And that through these exercises, if you get clear on the message that you're trying to deliver, truly in a heartfelt, sincere way, that confusion and that miscommunication reduces dramatically.
Right. And a big part of that, Laura, and I say this over and over in the book, the big part of that, the key to that, is that you own that. You own deciding to do that. So I say your voice is a choice, right? So it's that what plays in my head, which might be a reflection of things that happened in my childhood or previous life, travels, what have you, might be related to experiences, but that's still a choice. How I allow that narrative to play or not is still a choice. And then, so I start there, and then I can build upon choosing the words that serve others in a more beneficial manner.
Yes. And another thing that blew my mind when I read this book was the idea that instead of approaching, especially now, in a time where we are, in America in particular, trying to do so much better with diversity and inclusion. And as a white woman of relative privilege, I find myself lost in not knowing what to do or how to say something or how to move forward in a productive, forward leading way. And one of the things that really resonated with me in this book is that on the topic of diversity and inclusion, you ask whether it is for race, for sex, for gender, for ageism, any of these issues, disabilities, that you ask yourself, because we've all been raised with this idea of the golden rule, what do unto others as I would have done unto me, when in fact, what I would have done unto me may be very different from what the person with whom I'm speaking would like to have done unto them. So I love how you pose you challenge people to say, do unto others as they would have done unto them, which really makes you step into their shoes and really, really try to understand what words, what approach is going to be best for them, not for you.
That's right. That's right. And I think that, I turn to lots of experts and research and such to dig into that section. I'm also a white woman. And so yes, so I turn to the research in the end, in the very end of the day, yes, so much work has to be done, but our ownership of the words that we choose should take us to a place of asking. So in this section where Davia Spain, a transgender woman who is a part of the book and tells her story. She really drives that home to me when I was interviewing her, and she says, when people are unsure of how to address me or what to do, if they would just ask, if they would just ask, or if they would just say, if they would own the lack of knowledge, right? And that kind of spans across any place, that when we're speaking to others who are unlike us, that's it, who are unlike us, then we should open ourselves up to the idea that perhaps we won't always choose the perfect word. Perhaps we could open up the possibility that we might not, and therefore, how can the other person help us? And how can we ask and be sure and gain that clarity? Because that meets our intention and it meets our values more perfectly, right?
Absolutely.
The flip side to that would be when we choose words, we're unsure, and we're just going to throw something out there. The mantra that goes through my head is, what purpose does that serve? And that's what made me think of when you said the quote about, as they would like to be done unto, treat others as they want to be treated. Just to pause and say, I'm about to say X, I'm unsure if it's right, it's what I'm feeling right now, this and that. And if I stop and I say, what purpose does it serve, or what purpose will it serve? And I get grounded in that answer being tied to my intention and my values, then I'm on solid footing when that's the case.
Mm-hmm. And again, I'm going to come back to another question later, but what is the main thing that you would like for people to get out of this book?
So it's my heart work. That's my editor coined that phrase for me. What I'd like everyone to get out of it is that mine, yours, theirs, ours are the voices of humankind. Every day, what we choose to say and how we communicate, we are the voices of humankind, and our voice is a choice. So with the weight of that, if you accept the weight of that, then how can you choose more wisely?
That is fantastic. And what I love too is that your heart work resulted in this fantastic book, which will inspire people, I think, on a number of levels. Both, number one, to choose their words more carefully, and two, once you tell us about the process of how you wrote this book in only a year, inspire people to get their own heart work out into the world, possibly in the form of a book. So how in the world did you do this in 1 year?
Well, I did crazy research, first of all, about how many words in a nonfiction book and this and that. And then this is the kind of a longer thing to set up, which I'm happy to tell about when we meet with the larger group. But basically, I made this framework of what it'll take to write a book. And I followed the framework, and I pulled in my tribe. So a year ago, I believe on September 12th would be a year. So by the time we're speaking, September 12th was the day I sent an email out to 22 people and said, here's the outline, or here's some objectives that would like to cover in a book. What are your thoughts? And they gave me, different opinions and such, and I reduced that down. The group reduced down to 12. And then I kind of, weeded information out, did another round back to, what if I wrote a book that looked like this? Got to a solid place, and I started writing. And I followed a sort of disciplined framework that as I told you, I did an outline that I was given from somebody else. I sort of, in my mind, perfected that. And I set upon this course and this commitment within the normal, with doing my normal work and everything else. I just said, okay, here's how you divvy this up, how many words you can write in a day, in a week. And I just built upon it until it was what it was. And I, pulled in all the research, and it's totally doable. I am convinced that absolutely anybody can write a book. Maybe not in a year, because I stuck with my plan, but absolutely everybody can write a book, and everyone has a book in them. They have something to say, and there's true value in that. That's how we all learn. That's how we all evolve. There's almost 8 8 billion of us on this earth, and that's 8 billion individual evolutionary journeys. So everyone has something to share.
And we all have something to learn from all of those stories, which I'm so excited to hear more about you and about the book Words That Matter. Terry, thank you so much for your incredible insights today. Do you have any last words of wisdom before we conclude this introductory session?
No, I'm just so excited. I'm pleased that you so quickly read my book and am willing to dig a little bit deeper into my life journey. And I'm so excited to meet your audience in just a couple of weeks.
That's right. Tuesday, September 15th at 11 o'clock a.m. Japan Standard Time, which is GMT +9. We are going to gather online via Zoom to have a live Q&A with Terry Short to talk about her book, her life's journey, and how our voice is a choice. Please join us then. As always, of course, people who RSVP will get a recording to the full session. And Terry has promised an interactive exercise to help us get started on our heart work and owning the fact that our voice is our choice, as well as a downloadable PDF for anyone who attends or RSVPs for the live session. So we will see you all later this month, September 15th. Thanks so much.
Thank you.